Greetings, this is Kava. Today I am joined by a portion of the RIT CSL team and their coordinator. Guys, tell us all a little bit about yourselves, your team, and how you feel about the season so far.
For the listeners, I am Cyan Winters, the coordinator of the team. RIT is a tech school in Western New York, in Rochester. This is our first year competing in CSL. It's actually, as far as I'm aware, the first time RIT's ever had a StarCraft-based club. I don't think they did anything for Brood War. So this is our first year as a club, first year in CSL, and it's been quite an interesting ride up to this point.
I am Horst, also at RIT, currently a third-year student. I'm a bit of a late addition to the team, joined about halfway through the season. I've not really had a chance to show how good I am at this point, I don't think, because most of my matches have been PvP. And those are basically all just 4-gate or die. But overall, I think the team's going in some pretty good directions. We have some really good players, namely myself, of course, being the best. But
Of course.
I do have faith that our team is one of the stronger ones out there, and we can take on pretty much anyone. I mean, we lost to a couple of teams that we probably shouldn't have, and I'm just going to say didn't prepare enough. It's not a skill problem. It's just a problem with not preparing as much as we should. Probably during finals week we had some trouble, but I think we're one of the top teams out there.
Excellent. Sin?
Hello, I'm Yusin. I'm a fifth-year RT student, and I've played Brood War before and made it to C on I Cup quite a few times, and that was my highest achievement. And there was no RT club before this, because I've been looking for it since my freshman year, and this is the first year that actually a friend linked me the poster of the club from his phone. That's how I found out about this club, and the first time entering CSL. So, and I'm probably the best player on the team, but don't take my word for that.
Well, as long as both of you are confident, that's probably a good place to start. As I understand it, playoffs are coming up really quickly. This weekend's match is going to be basically your make or break. How do you feel about the playoff race, and just what are your thoughts on it?
The playoffs were looking really good up until last week, where we lost a match that we definitely shouldn't have lost, going by records and power rankings alone, certainly. So now we find ourselves sort of on the outside looking in.
All right. Horst?
But yeah, we were doing fine until last week. I think part of the problem was one of our 2v2 players wasn't able to make it, so I had to fill in for 2v2. My 2v2 record is not that great, and I was only able to play 1v1. Sin couldn't play, or Houston couldn't play, and he's one of our better players. We had to, I don't know, I just felt our lineup wasn't as strong as it could be, and due to finals week, it wasn't one of our strongest showings. I think we could have crushed that team. I think we should. I know I met their ace on the ladder not too long ago and managed to beat him quite handily. So I don't think it was anything that we couldn't have done. It's just that the stars aligned against us, I guess.
Yeah, sort of to that point, RIT is on a quarter system instead of a semester system. So this is the second time this season that we've ended up playing in the middle of a break, which I think CSL is structured to not play during semester school breaks. At least I know that's how it was for the first semester break. So 2 of our losses have actually come during finals week, which isn't an excuse per se, but it certainly hasn't helped us. As far as looking forward, the way that we get into the playoffs, there's 2 scenarios, one of which is a lot more likely than the other. We don't play this coming week because our opponent withdrew from CSL, so we only have 1 match left, which we should win. We have to win. If we don't win, there's no way we can get in. But assuming we win that match, if Pittsburgh loses to the University of Florida the final week of the season, which Florida's second place and they're fourth place, so it could be really close. But if Florida beats them, we have the tiebreaker against Pittsburgh, so we would be in. The other way is if Colorado loses both of their remaining matches, we might get in. I'm not entirely sure on that one, though. So basically, it all comes down to Florida beating Pittsburgh for us.
All right, fair enough. And of course, yourselves beating your upcoming opponent as well. This has kind of always been a curiosity for me. What's your team's approach to league matches versus, ladder practice and prep matches? The stakes are a lot higher in league matches. Do nerves factor into your decision-making when crunch time comes around?
I try to use strategies that do well in the ladder. I know I had one disastrous PVT where I tried to go for a 3 Colossus 10-minute push. It had been working a lot for me on the ladder, so I figured I'll just try it in a tournament game. I kind of Didn't work out nearly as well as it did on the ladder. I probably should have done something a lot more in custom games to prepare for it, but I think it's just a hiccup of getting over being a ladder player and becoming more of a tournament player. I don't think it really has any more bearing than that, so more preparation should be done in customs, though a lot of it by us is done in the ladder, I think.
And Houston?
I mainly that whole Saturday basically I play a lot of games, especially on the maps I'm playing on, and I try to squeeze in games on Thursday and Friday so that I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. And I really don't have a set strategy in place. I usually just go with the most common ones in all my matchups. So even on the ladder, I try to play like the top players like Idra or General, the more safer, more macro oriented build. And I think I'm much better at it than like actually setting forth that strategy and doing that. So and during games, I feel all the adrenaline actually kicks in, and I do fairly well compared to my normal other games.
Next question is directed to all of you. Is there any heated rivalries within your division? Teams that you've knocked heads with again and again, and it's just there's no end to it.
Unfortunately, RIT is in real sports, so to speak. We only have one D1 sport, which is hockey, and unfortunately, none of our big hockey rivalries are in CSL, that would be really cool because I know a lot of like the UC schools have big rivalries like that. We kind of have to make our own in the esports universe, and this is our first season in CSL, so this is sort of where rivalries are going to be formed. So we don't have any teams that we've played a bunch of times, but that being said, ever since we played Florida, me and their coordinator have kind of been communicating in a friendly way and really kind of rooting for each other. So I would say that's a friendly rivalry. We want to play each other again in the playoffs and see each other and look forward to playing each other again. And the other one that I would say is Waterloo, who has also been a front runner in the division all season. We played them the week after we played Florida, and we took them to ace, which is something that a lot of teams have yet to accomplish. And they ended up beating us. And I would say that that's probably a more heated rival, as it were, just because we had some BM issues and such that week. So I think that everybody has a bit of a sore spot for that week.
If you're going to have a rival team, you want to make sure you have a very good rival team, and Waterloo is a great team for that with players like Anti-Mage and Combat X. One of them known for very good play, one of them known for very cheesy all-in garbage play. They're a very strong team overall. They have a lot of very high-ranking players, and I think it's a good rival to have.
Houston, any thoughts? Any matches you wish you could do over?
Definitely the Combat X match. I felt I did a really poor job of scouting. I knew he was doing something funky like a cannon rush. Like that was my gut feeling. I knew it was coming, but I scouted the wrong part of my base and didn't scout the underling of my minerals, and that ended up costing my game. That's a mistake I should learn on, and I will. And hopefully next time we meet, I can crush this guy and shut him up because I feel like he's all talk and no game.
It's certainly a match I look forward to.
Did you guys follow Brood War or no?
I saw his match with Chill cast by day 9. Combat
Yes.
X versus Chill was amazing.
That's a long time ago, and he'd been known as the douchebaggier Protoss player from back in Brood War days, where everybody knew that he wasn't that great, but he just talks so much. And I feel sorry for their team though, because their team had to apologize for him when he started like going on rants, and it was kind of getting ridiculous.
This is directed towards Horst and Yusin. Is how did you get your start in RTS gaming? What drew you to the StarCraft genre?
I played Brood War back in the day. I started back in high school around I think it was 2004. I started playing Brood War. I really liked it in high school. I tried a couple of WCG qualifiers, never really got very far in it, but I always was able to beat all my friends. It was always great fun. We'd do 7v1. I'd come out way ahead. It was always a great entertainment at LAN parties, and when I saw StarCraft 2 coming out, I played a little bit more Brood War. Never really got very far in the ladder. I think my best ever was like a C- on a PG Tour. When StarCraft 2 came out, I figured I'll just play a bunch of that. So I'm doing that ever since.
I've been actually interested in StarCraft from when pretty much it came out. I was actually not in the US at the time, so the only time I could play was with friends at a LAN party, and that's where it mainly started because one of the top players actually used to go to this LAN, and I would stand behind him and watch him all the time. and he would win like games against me and my two friends on Lost Temple, 1v3, without losing a single probe, zealot, or a dragoon, and that just amazed me so much. And I've been playing Brood War ever since. And basically, when I discovered YouTube around 2005, 2006, and discovered Klazarth and the old Korean VODs, I started watching those a lot and started playing on actually getting the courage to play on iCup and PG Tour so I can start getting better. And right before StarCraft released, or right before the beta, I was playing heavily on iCup, and getting to the highest rank I got was C, I guess. Multiple seasons, so that's how I got into RTS games.
Yusin, I've been led to believe that you play random, which is a rarity to see in any league tournament setting. What drew you to this choice?
It sounds funny, but I hate mirror matches because it's so unforgiving in a way that if you make a tiny mistake, if you miss a probe, if you miss a drone, you're behind. And I hate that the feeling of playing from behind. So I started playing random because first of all I didn't know what all the differences were, and then the secondly thing was I hated random playing mirror matches. So I started playing random. And oddly enough, I think I play way better in mirror matches than my other matches, which is kind of weird. That was the main reason. And I really had a hard time deciding a race, so I just chose all three.
Awesome. Horst, how did you get dragged into this whole team thing? You got into the team mid-season and you've been kicking some serious ass, and in two set fours, you've brought it to the ace match for your team. How did you get your start?
Yeah, I met Yada at a LAN party. I gave him a ride there. We both went to a local LAN for StarCraft 2 at a local tournament, and he told me about the RIT StarCraft team. I had never heard of it before. I don't live on campus, so I didn't see any flyers. And he told me about the CSL, and I figured that sounds like something I want to be a part of. So I talked to Cyan Winters here and got signed up on the team, and that's how that happened.
I also understand that you guys have a local StarCraft community of over 100 people. How did that get started?
Yeah, well, we're a pretty big school. I think our undergrad enrollment is like 15,000, so we have a pretty sizable population to draw from. Plus, it's a tech school, so obviously there's going to be gamers. So the StarCraft Club actually started because of CSL. Another guy I mentioned earlier, Jeff, who does some of the co-casting, he had found out about CSL and signed RIT up for it really before there was a club or any backbone. He just had, like, I think a half dozen guys that he knew or something that had all signed on. From there, a few more people got involved. Eventually, I got involved. Our current president, a guy named Ryan, got involved. And the club we got a website. And eventually, within the last month or two, we got official RIT recognition as a club. And it really kind of grew from there. We put flyers up and word of mouth and stuff, and we've gotten a pretty large number of people to sign up and get interested in it. And it seems like every time there's a LAN or something around, more people end up coming to me asking about CSL and asking about the club. So word of mouth has definitely been really good for us.
Yeah, it's a shame that the club is actually restricted only to RIT students. I actually know one local guy, BioWare Mech. He's in the top 200, but he doesn't quite go to RIT. He's still in high school, but he's got like 3,700 points in the ladder. He's a freaking Terran beast.
Evan, this is more on the administration side of questions. What's involved in starting and maintaining a CSL team? And do you have any advice for folk who are looking to start one for next season?
Well, as I just alluded to, I didn't actually start the CSL team. I took over in like week 6 for various administrative reasons and such. But as far as keeping it running, it's not as much work as one might think. We have some forums and club email, and that's pretty much all we use to communicate. I'll send out an email on Saturdays after a match and go, okay, who's available next week, and do some running around to try and get a hold of people who don't email me. But generally by like Monday, I have a list of all the people who are able to play, and then I go to the forums and I look at, we have a thread that has like all their preferences and stuff in terms of what maps and race matchups they like, and I make a lineup that I feel like gives us our best chance to win, and then pretty much it's hands off until Saturday, and where I usually make all the games and stuff and make sure everybody's there. It's definitely worth it. I would say anybody looking to start it, just find a core base. Get enough people to play every week. I know there's a lot of teams this season who ended up not having enough players and they had to withdraw and stuff. But if you can get a solid base of players who are interested in the game, it's really a pretty easy thing to get involved in and get interested in. It should only grow. The better you do, the more people are going to want to come and join your team, as long as you advertise it fairly well.
Do you guys do a lot of practicing within your own team, or is it mostly just in your own little circle of practice partners?
We don't have officially set up meeting or training times, as it were. That's one thing they showed, the UCSD experience, I think it was called, on CSL, where it showed they train X number of times a week and they all get in a room together and do some serious hardcore work. We don't really do anything like that. We have a channel within in-game where everybody is always on whenever they log on, so it's easy to find matches amongst our people, and I usually encourage that, and everybody is sort of able to do that, so to speak. A lot of them, I think, just ladder, so we don't have anything structured, unfortunately, but it seems to have worked out this way anyway.
Any plans or improvements you have for next season for your team?
Haven't really thought too much about it yet. The big concern I have is who's going to be graduating and who's not, and having to find out one way or another if they're graduating or not, because people might not necessarily be forthcoming with such information. But I think we have a good foundation in place as far as how the system's run, and I do think we have a core group of players. Hopefully a good chunk of, at least, will be returning next year. So, and I'll be still at RIT for the next year, so we have the foundation in place, and we're going to next year probably look to start grooming some new talent, both player-wise and administrative-wise, because myself and the president of the club are both going to be graduating after next year. So it's a challenge we're going to have to deal with in the coming months.
Do you guys have any closing comments, questions, queries, or concerns, shout-outs for teammates or friends that have helped you get this far?
Yeah. Big thanks again to BioWare Mech, helping me practice my PVT, beating me most of the time with that, but still helpful. All I have to say is that this was our first time in the CSL. It will not be our last. This will not be our best season, but it's going to be a strong foundation for next season so we can do better.
I'd like to shout out to my friends who actually found out. Actually, the funny story is I was on co-op, which is an internship, and I had no idea this was going on, and actually friends linked me a poster. That's how I found out, so I'd like to take a shout out to my friends who encouraged me to play and actually be good at this game instead of just being a random scrub. So, and RIT for giving me an opportunity to put my face in front of RIT.
Yeah, mainly I just want to thank RIT StarCraft, the whole community that have stood by us from our very humble beginnings, I guess, and have allowed us to grow into what we are now. Special thanks to Mogu Z, who is the one who made CSL for RIT in the first place, and Rywar, who is the president of RIT StarCraft, and of course to the entire CSL team. That is the reason we've been here. It's been quite an interesting experience, and it's definitely been good.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and I certainly look forward to seeing the next matches.
Thanks for the interview.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for the interview.